Okay, well, I'll make this real quick. I just have to, I just have to get out to LHS 301, and the station is Payette Dock because supposedly I can get a decent price there for some muscovite. I've still got like 128 tons of it here, and yeah, this stuff is supposed to be worth all this money, but you know, every time I actually mine it, or any of this stuff, I never get as much as what they're supposed to be. I mean, if I wasn't mining muscovite, I'm sure the price would be up over $1 million, because it usually is. I've actually noticed that the price on these different things tends to peak at different times of the week, like typically Saturday, I think, is a good day to cash in on shit. Probably because that's when Frontier figures that's when all the kids are out here playing, so that's when they jack the price up, or they I'm sure they jigger up the background simulation so that it works out that way. But I need to hurry up and get out there before the price changes. I also wanted to tell you my sad story about Bitcoin just to prove to you what a loser I am.
Frameshift drive charging.
I bring this up because I haven't followed Bitcoin in a while, so out of curiosity I looked it up the other day and noticed that the price of Bitcoin was up to $30,000.
3, 2, 1.
Which is ridiculous. And that got my attention because, as a matter of fact, I actually have some Bitcoin. I mean, I don't have a lot of Bitcoin. I never had a lot of Bitcoin. But there was a time when I had 1.3 Bitcoins.
Frameshift drive charging.
This all started out about 2015 when I first heard about Bitcoin, you know, and me being the fool that I am, I like to jump on everything new that happens, so.
3, 2, 1.
So at that time, I rushed right out and I bought me a Bitcoin miner. Now, Bitcoin isn't like some of these other coins out here, like Ethereum out. You can't mine. You could never mine Bitcoin with video cards. You had to buy a specialized unit. There wasn't nothing really all that special about it. There were these really simplified processors that were built just specifically
Disengaged.
for the task involved with mining Bitcoin.
Frameshift drive charging.
And I bought one of these stupid things. It cost about $1,000 back then. Of course, you know, I'm small time. You know, there were people back then that were buying like 100 of these and setting them up in warehouses.
3, 2, 1.
But I had one. And I set it up in the spare room and I started it running, and I let it run for about a year and a half. And at the end of that process, I had about 1.3 Bitcoins. You know, and at the same time, I was watching the price of Bitcoin go down the toilet. I don't know if you're familiar with the history of Bitcoin, but it has a habit of doing that. And over time, it just occurred to me, you know, when it got to the point where, you know, like I was.
Frameshift drive operating beyond safety limits. Frameshift drive supercharged.
When it got to the point where I was basically just spending more on electricity to run this stupid miner than I was making off the Bitcoin it was generating. Eventually, I just got sick of the whole thing, and I sold that Bitcoin miner. And aside from Bitcoin, the Bitcoin price going down the toilet all the time, Bitcoin kept increasing the difficulty of the mining process so that it took longer and longer to mine the same amount of Bitcoin. So I just didn't see any future in this at all. I shut the whole thing down.
Charging.
And I kind of forgot about it for a while. So anyway, after a few years, I was fooling around, playing video games, you know.
3, 2, 1.
And one day I looked up and, holy cow, the Bitcoin wasn't completely worthless, you know. So I looked up. I went up and looked and checked it out, and come to find out, my 1.3 Bitcoins was worth, gosh, it was like $1,000 or something, you know. So I said, what the hell, you know, time to upgrade the video card. And that's what I did. I spent a big chunk of that Bitcoin that I had on a brand new video card, because that's the kind of idiot I am. And at the end of that, I really didn't have very much Bitcoin left at all, you know. But it was still there, and once again, I just kind of forgot about it. I'm not even going to try this. No, Mr. Neutron Star, I've been down that road before.
Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one.
Well, anyway, long story short, this scenario repeated itself. A couple years after that, I looked back and Bitcoin was... Okay, I'm not going to say that because frankly at this point I don't even remember. I might have gone through this process twice. I might have actually bought 2 video cards with whatever fraction of Bitcoin I have left. But frankly, I'm old and senile and my memory's not that good anymore. It was definitely one time. It might have been twice. And after that, I just said, screw this. You know, I completely forgot about it again. Until yesterday.
Warning, frameshift drive operating beyond safety limits. Frameshift drive supercharged.
Oh, no, that's stupid. I didn't even have to do that. Hang on. I can't talk and do shit at the same time. Yeah, that was a waste of time. I could have died there. That was completely useless.
Frameshift drive charging.
Yeah, until yesterday. So yesterday, I get up and just out of curiosity looked at Bitcoin is at $30,000. Okay, and even the tiny fraction of Bitcoin I had left
4, 3, 2, 1.
was worth over $2,000. You know, and it's when stuff like this happens that you have to admit I have to admit what a complete loser I am. Because if I'd held on to that first 1.3 Bitcoin, I'd have like $45,000 right now. Well, in theory, I would. Yeah, in theory. Because the other thing about Bitcoin is, yeah, it's a nice number on a screen, but just try getting it out in cash. It's not that straightforward.
Fuel scoop disengaged.
Well, actually, you can buy gift cards and stuff with it, yeah, but, you know, $45,000 worth of gift cards, that's going to take you some time. You can also spend it on Newegg and stuff, but I tried to buy some stuff off Newegg yesterday with it, but Newegg's website kept crashing every time I tried to do the Bitcoin with it. I don't know why. That's the way I spent it the last time, but this time it didn't want to work. I'm guessing it's because the network was just completely congested because Bitcoin's at 30,000, you know. There's probably one or two other people out there trying the same shit, you know what I'm saying? So that didn't work. So basically, you know, and now Bitcoin is headed back down again, right? So I'm sitting here feeling awful because I have this $2,000 sitting here and I can't get my greasy mitts on it. I need to buy gift cards with it quickly. But now I've screwed that up even because I didn't even know how to use the website. And yeah, the website is a trap of red tape, and at this point I can't even get access to it. It's still there theoretically, but every time you do any transaction with Bitcoin, it's going to take hours. You know? And at the end of that, if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to be in a situation where you can't do nothing. And that's exactly what happens to me because I don't know what I'm doing with this stuff, you know? I mined this shit. I stuck it in a box. I managed to get a couple of video cards out of it. That's about it. But I could have had $45,000. Oh, fuck, it's worse than that. I remember for a long time, back when Bitcoin had crashed, it was down to less than $1. Bitcoin was down to less than $1. And I used to sit on the toilet with my smartphone going to this website to follow Bitcoin and thinking, you know, I could take $1,000. I could buy Bitcoin now. I could get 1,000 Bitcoins. Sure, why not? You know, it's a long shot, but you know, it was up to what, 10,000 before it crashed? Maybe it could go up again. You never know. I thought about it. I never did it. One of the main reasons I never did it was because the particular website that I happened to be hanging around to follow the Bitcoin with, that particular website, one day I looked it up and that website wasn't there anymore. There was just a notice where the website used to be, a notice from the FBI, because as it turns out, the guy that ran the website that I'd been following so eagerly and with such interest, that guy had just sort of disappeared with everybody's money. Which was hilarious. You know, at that point, I was glad as hell I'd never put a dime into that particular website. I wouldn't have gone through that website anyway, but I had a nice laugh at all the other patrons that were on that website. They had a chat box on that website, and it was always full of these snarky fucking happy-go-lucky fine investors, that would spend all day talking cool jargon about Bitcoin and slapping each other on the back about how smart they were about investing on Bitcoin on this website. And the motherfucker that ran the place just ran off with all their fucking money. He got away with tens of millions of dollars. I don't know if the FBI ever caught him or not. I don't know. That's not the only time that's happened with Bitcoin. That's one of the other reasons I stayed the fuck away from it. But you know what? If I'd spent $1,000 on Bitcoin when it was $1 a piece, I'd be sitting on $30 million today. How do you know you're a loser? When shit like that happens. That's how you know. Well, you can't feel bad about stuff like that because the fact is, you might kill yourself thinking, oh, what a lost opportunity. But the fact of the matter is that if you went around chasing every long shot like that came around, 99.99% of the time, you'd lose every dime you put into some shit like that. 99% of the time, it's not going to pan out. And then the one time it does, you're going to kick yourself, okay? But yeah, I missed out on $30 million. Hell, I told you yesterday, I could have bought Microsoft when they IPO'd. I could have been rich. I could have been rich, you bastard. Oh, fuck. Okay, well, that's all I got to tell you. Y'all have a good evening.